Oh, can we record it now? Or will it automatically get recorded on? Okay. Alrighty, it looks like we are live. However, I am not sure. Oh, here it is. Okay, so it's down here. Live. Okay. Okay, it looks like we're live, we're recording. I'm trying something a little new today with the Zoom to work out the kinks. So welcome to my channel Ride, Pray, Love, where we are all about inspiring, uplifting, and empowering you during these changing times by connecting with Source, the medicine of the horse, and beyond. And today, hang on, sorry. Today, I've got two screens up here. I'm watching the YouTube and the Zoom. Anyway, today I wanted to connect with you on a number of levels. To really continue the conversation that I started a couple of days ago about our soul's wounds and our soul's work, which is connected to our soul's worth and wisdom and wealth and beyond. And I also want to chat about really do a little bit deeper dive today as a precursor, if you will, to a very special masterclass I'm intending on holding next week. I've been putting together slides and I'm really excited about that. But today, what I want to share with you is 5 fun facts about Chiron, the Sacred Centaur, who's associated with the wounded healer, and then 5 gifts that you can receive when you work with this Sacred Centaur the way that I have done for myself and do with my clients. So that's going to be the topic for today's discussion. And before I dive in, I want to reference a couple of things. First, I will put the video that I started this conversation on down below, again, on our soul's wounds and our soul's work. And I have to apologize because I don't know what happened to the Wi-Fi that day. Typically, the connection is better in my office, but lately it seems to be better at the house. So I not only got cut off, later I noticed that half of what I thought I was sharing was gone, but the sound quality got really wonky towards the end. So my apologies for that. I did include some written details in the box below to hopefully make up for that. And today, again, I am going to continue that conversation. And the other pieces, I just want to mention, like, I really want to, be real with you and chat about what's not only going on for me, but what I'm feeling in the collective and the cosmic vibes. Really, as we are, almost, our way through this second eclipse that's happening tomorrow, this eclipse gateway. We've been making our way through this corridor, if you will, between the two eclipses. And I know also this time of year for a lot of sensitive souls, star seeds, creative, artistic types like myself, if you are tuning in, chances are there's parts of me that you resonate with. And since we know that like attracts like, and so what I want to just say is, first, I want you to know you're not alone if you are feeling kind of sad and got like, the blissmas Christmas blues, if you will, around family, issues that may have actually gotten really triggered or highlighted over the past a few months or 6 months, or even during this, the last month with this eclipse portal, because it's all about like those shakeups and wake ups and, and so many of us who feel called to the path of the healer, path of the, the wounded healer, the trailblazer, the rainbow warrior, whatever words resonate for you as being, even chosen, right? The chosen ones. If you feel called on this path, then chances are, if you're like me, you may be not only have felt that you don't fit in with your family for much of your life, but maybe even, and I'm going to share transparently here, you may be dealing with some current struggles with your family in terms of perhaps, just not getting along, maybe, feeling estranged, if you will, maybe distancing yourself so that you can do your thing and grow, which is kind of my case. It is said that sometimes we have to pull away from what we know and who we know in order to grow. And whether that's temporarily or longer, everybody's situation is going to be different, but it doesn't mean that it's not painful and that it doesn't come with, some hurting in our heart, right? And so, with that being said, and it being the holiday season, this is typically a time that so many of us, and I'm including myself in there, can get a little glum or blue or depressed. Never mind like the weather. I mean, I'm grateful to be in Florida, especially this time of year where we do have sunshine and, relatively, comparatively warmer weather than other parts of the world. However, on those days that are kind of gray and cold, there's that seasonal affective disorder, right? We can get a little depressed or down. And even myself, I'll share transparently, just a couple days ago, or actually it was even yesterday. Was it yesterday or day before yesterday? I lose track of time. I woke up, and recently I've been waking up a lot, around between 3 and 4 a.m., which is often when our guides are trying to connect with us and spirit and the divine. And I woke up, I had a dream with my mom who passed away in 2007. And are you wanting to come join us? And I, like when I woke up and then realized, I just felt her presence so strong. And then I started crying and, was really kind of missing her and feeling sad. And then that same day, I was actually cleaning some pee from my little princess who, goes inside more than she does out. She's really good about using the pads, but anyway, she's a little princess. And I was cleaning the pee pad and I remembered, I had a flashback of I had another small dog, Langy, who was a half terrier, half dachshund, and introduced me to the world of, the magical world of small dogs. And because I always used to be a big dog person beforehand. Anyway, just that being said, I had a flashback with her and again started getting weepy and teary. And so, I'm sharing this with you to know that you're not alone and to know that, something that I have learned over time and getting better at, I'm not perfect at it. I'm not a master, but as we just release the judgment around having those moments, right, where the tears come up and the sadness in the heart comes up, when we just let it flow, right, and those tears are so cleansing and purifying. Afterwards, the tears are actually said to carry away a lot of our emotional toxins, right? And other toxins as well. And so, when we don't judge it and we just let ourselves feel it and then, release and cry or whatever we need to do, go for a walk, self-care, honor our bodies, right? All the things, then it passes so much more quickly and we don't have to get stuck in that downward spiral, which is something that I used to do before I started expanding my awareness around this, and have, collecting and creating tools to navigate these emotions and energies. So on that note, all this being said, I want to let you know I haven't had a chance to upload it, but I will include down below a couple of free resources for you. And in particular, I want to recommend my Blissmas Alchemy process, which came through a few years back, when I was feeling into this topic of the holiday blues and how to help others really shift that energy for myself and others, right? And so this Blissmas Alchemy process, it's absolutely free. It's part of a collection of 5 timeless tracks to really help you raise your vibration, shift your energy, and really find more peace and calm and grounding and beyond, right? So that you can really be the best you can be and also enjoy, a greater sense of peace and calm and joy and happiness. And so I will be including that down below. You'll see there are 2, just so you know, there's 2 different free gifts I have. There's one with the collection of the 5 high vibe tracks. And in there, you'll see that along with 4 other really amazing, again, timeless activation meditation processes that came through that are free and my gift to you. You can, feel into any of the others, obviously, as well, to use as guided. There's a really powerful ancestors kind of chanting mantra process to connect with your ancestors. There's a sacred sexy reset button, which is a brief process to really reset your energy with a mini kind of tantric breath practice. There is the eye of the storm to keep you centered and calm and grounded. And I can't even remember. I think there's a couple more in there that I'm blanking on. So just want you to know that those resources are here for you. They're free. My gift to you for stopping by. So I'll put that down below. And then there's another gift that is a really sacred process to me that is part of my Empress initiation and empowerment bundle, but I made it a free process because it was so powerful. I just had to share it. And it's not only my favorite go-to process for grounding and anchoring, but also helps to awaken your sacred sexuality and erotic innocence. It's a very gentle, beautiful process that came through while I was riding my beloved Indigo and recorded, while I was riding him. So there are some, sounds of nature infused, which is common with a lot of my tracks and the medicine of the horse. So those will be down below for you to check out and, listen to as guided if that's something you feel called to. But I just wanted to make you aware because I know this time of the year can be challenging for many. And as I shared, I'm having my moments as well. But the beautiful thing that I'm so grateful for is when I look back, even, a few short years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, I used to get into that funk or have those emotions, but because I didn't have the awareness or the tools to know how to manage my energy and my emotions, and really the presence and the compassion and the self-love skills that had to be learned, and I'm again still a work in progress, I would end up going in a downward spiral and then get stuck in that dark place. And so I don't want that for you, when these can really help you to raise your vibes and lift you out of that place with regular use. So what else? Okay, so I wanted to start off mentioning that, and then we'll dive into our topic today around, excuse me, a sip of tea, our 5 fun facts about Chiron. Again, Chiron is the archetype of the wounded healer. And so first fun fact, number 1, is Chiron. It was discovered. It's considered actually a celestial body, or sometimes I've seen it called an asteroid, because it's too small to be considered an actual planet, as I understand it. It was discovered in 1977. And that time, if you think about it, that was a time when a lot of holistic mind-body medicine approaches, healing, chiropractic, all of those things, chiromancy, divination, all of those things really were emerging and gaining popularity at that time. So I think it's not an accident that the Chiron was discovered at that time. Okay. And then I love the 777 as a side note in numerology, because again, it's bringing in that wisdom and that really divine download, integration, and connection of, for me, it's like bringing heaven down to earth, and also receiving divine downloads and inspiration. So that's fun fact number 1. The second fun fact about Chiron, and by the way, I say Chiron, I've heard other people pronounce it other ways. That's the way I've known it. So, you know, I don't know if it's right or wrong, but that's the way I say it. Anyway, Chiron was discovered between the planets, it was supposedly wandering between the planets Saturn and Uranus. Okay. And that's significant because Saturn is really all about our root chakra when you think about the energies, and Uranus is about our crown. So in so many ways, the fact that Chiron, this celestial body or asteroid, was wandering between these 2 planets really creates this bridge, if you will, or connection between, again, heaven and earth, between our root, our physical body, and our crown, our divine wisdom and downloads. Okay, so there's actually a book that I wanted to share with you here by Barbara Hand Clow, called Chiron, The Rainbow Bridge Between the Inner and Outer Planets. If you want to do a deep dive, this book is, I've got all these highlighted. I've like studied it, from front to cover. And that was when I was doing my research that I talked about 4 or 5 years ago, when I discovered what I call the Chiron codes, or created my own body of work. This was really a big, Bible for me, a great reference tool, and others. But anyway, that was a big one. So I just wanted to share that. And so fun fact number 3, if you happen to be born, okay, between 1961 and 1968, I had to write these down because I don't have it memorized. Okay. And your Chiron placement in your natal chart. And by the way, side note, I talked about this in the last video. It is said that the placement of Chiron in your natal chart actually signifies where your soul wounds are, and therefore holds the seeds to your greatest gifts, your strength, your soul's work, purpose, calling, etc. Okay. And so if you happen to have your Chiron placement in your natal chart, between 1961 and 68, with the Chiron in Pisces, okay, and then there's a specific alignment that happens where your Pluto then ends up in Virgo, because Pisces and Virgo are polar opposites, right? And so the details of this are not specific, I mean, not important at this point, but what I want to say, if you were born between that time and have that specific alignment, which is something you can do, you know, by looking at your chart. And if you're not familiar with doing that, stay tuned, because I have a special opportunity where I'm going to help you with that if you would like some help. But if not, you can go to like Cafe Astrology or astro.com and just pull your chart if you're familiar with you know, your chart. If you have one, you can look on there and find it. So if you happen to be born between that time with that alignment, that means that you are actually meant, your blueprint, your soul's codes, your Chiron codes are literally, you know, saying that you are meant to be on the path in terms of your destiny and purpose of the rainbow warrior. Okay. And, you know, we can go into more depth on that in a future conversation, but really that rainbow, that spiritual warrior, that love leader, that trailblazer of light, who is here to really be a visionary, be the change, lead the way, especially at this time of such powerful and accelerated change. Okay. And so that doesn't mean, side note, if you don't have this in your birth configuration, it doesn't mean you're not, if you resonate with the words rainbow warrior, you know, I really believe in energy and resonance. If you resonate with that, doesn't mean you're not meant to be a rainbow warrior. If you resonate with the qualities of a rainbow warrior, by all means, please don't feel that that takes you out of, oh, I'm not supposed to be a rainbow warrior. That's not what I'm saying. This is just in terms of astrology and defined by Barbara in her book here, in terms of the specific qualities and codes that you're meant to be bringing and sharing with your gifts at this time, and also some of the you know, challenges that we can also have when we are wired this way. Okay, so it's all good. Everybody's beautiful and everybody's perfect, and you can be a rainbow warrior if you want to. Okay, nobody's getting left out. Okay, but that it's highlighted or intensified. Let's put it that way. If you have this particular astrological placement or alignment in your chart. Okay. The next thing is, and we touched a little bit on this in the last one, but actually I don't even know if it came out because half of my talk was missing. But you know, when we have a planet in retrograde, there's a magnetic energy, and when we have the planet going forward, there's more of an electrical energy. So magnetic pulls things towards us, right? And the specific themes of the planet, as I believe I mentioned, are going to then get intensified, right? And so since Chiron is all about healing our core wounds, our soul wounds, right? Therefore, when Chiron's in retrograde, which it has been since July in Aries, that means that the energies that it's pulling towards you are going to be those of, you know, healing, initiation, and the opportunity for alchemical transformation. Okay. So that is fun fact number 4. And by the way, I think I mentioned it in the last one, but it bears repeating. Chiron is going to be stationing direct on December 19th of this month. So just a few weeks away, less than that. And so that is why I felt it was really important for me to bring and shed some light on this now, as we're kind of wrapping up this retrograde cycle, so that if you have some, you know, unresolved issues or unfinished business in this arena and you need some support, I wanted to bring this to light. Okay. Next, fun fact number 5 around Chiron is that the Chiron return. So depending on your age, this may or may not apply to you yet, but typically when you have your Chiron return, which is typically around age 50, in your 50s, there's going to be a crisis of consciousness. And I wanted to show you this chart. And let's see if I marked the page here, which really illustrates it beautifully, sort of like our ascension journey according to astrology. Okay, so I'm going to show you this chart. Hopefully you can see that. So we have here the different sort of times where, like, they're very important transits in our life, okay, where we're going to break through to the next level of our consciousness, right? Because we're always raising our consciousness. So the first one is our Saturn return, right? And that is when we're going to have some sort of physical crisis of being, okay, that opens us up into our emotions. And then we have a Uranus alignment. I forget what this is called here, but this is going to open us up to our emotional or astral body, okay? And then next we have our Chiron return, which actually helps us, again, open up our consciousness from the mental into the spiritual plane, right? And we talked about the Saturn, right? And the Uranus, the crown, right? So there's this connection of really expanding and raising our consciousness, and there's specific planetary alignments that happen and then create certain events that are going to help your soul evolve on this journey. And if you're new to astrology, there was a time when I was younger, I was always fascinated by it more from the signs and just playing with it. But I really, in the past, I want to say 5 to 7 years, have done a deep dive really into astrology and numerology. And it really is true what they say, that it's written in the stars. And I think it was Mark Twain who said, the two most important dates or times in our life are the day. Two most important, I always screw up saying, the two most important days in our life are the day we were born and the day we find out why. And it's really incredible. The more I have studied this for myself and others, how powerful and enlightening it is. And the more I learn, the less I know. So anyway, so those are the 5 fun facts about Chiron. And so if you are intrigued, I hope you'll stay with me here for the 5 gifts that you can receive, or benefits, if you will, from working with Chiron, and more specifically, Chiron, the Sacred Centaur, and the Chiron codes, the body of work that, again, I created, which involves, by the way, a combination of the astrology, so looking at your chart, as well as doing the energetic healing, clearing, and integration piece, the emotional, right? We're doing all of it so that we have the embodiment, right? As well as helping you align with your soul's work or calling or purpose, okay? Depending on what, feels right for you, okay? And so the 5 gifts that you can receive from doing this work include, first of all, getting really crystal clear on your sacred vision. Okay. So, when we are not clear on our direction, on our soul's goals or calling, when we are allowing society's conditioning or family or other people's sort of imposed expectations on us, especially as an empath and sensitive, it can be so tricky to navigate what's yours and what is not. Okay. And so, Chiron really helps you get clear on that. And if we bring in, again, the imagery and the symbolism of working with the Sacred Centaur, okay, we have this arrow that is igniting that vision, that goal, that target for us. And I also wanted to mention, I'm going to take a little tangent here for a moment, because I really wanted to take a moment to honor like the huge eclipse. I started talking about it earlier, and then I went off on a tangent. We have the Sagittarian eclipse happening tomorrow. It's a total solar eclipse with the new moon in Sagittarius at 12 degrees. And this is so powerful because Sagittarius is also represented by the Sacred Centaur, right? The half human, half horse. And both and Sagittarius is our fire sign and all about like, seeking higher wisdom and truth, as well as expansion and joy and freedom and travel, adventure. It's ruled by the planet Jupiter. So all of these themes are going to be highlighted and coming into play. And because eclipses often bring about sort of sudden change, and it could be in our mind like a mental breakthrough, and it also could be in our world, in our relationships, in our bodies, in our environment. There's again, everyone is going to be affected differently, but the eclipse is such a powerful time for really those, again, I like to say tower moments and power moments, to shake things up, shake up the status quo and help now point us in the new, more aligned direction, right? Point our arrow in the right direction. And I don't want to say right because I don't like to put that judgment on it, because I really believe that on some level we're always on the right path, because that's what our soul is desiring to experience at any given time. However, we can sometimes have a dream or a goal deep within that gets lost in the shuffle, so to speak. And we, if we want to follow our true north and we want to really, stay aligned with our destiny and our heart's desires and our soul's goals, then sometimes we need a little course correcting. Okay. And that's where, the eclipses can be a powerful, nudge, or what is the word I'm looking for? It's more than a nudge, but a powerful course corrector. Okay, so I did want to take a moment to mention that. And other side note, also, Sagittarius is on the axis with Gemini, and Sagittarius is in the south node. So the north node is our true north, right? Is our future, is our destiny, is our, the arrow of the direction we're headed. The south node is our past karma. So because we're dealing with the Sagittarius eclipse, there's also been a lot of powerful releasing of past karma and, closing those doors and dissolution. If you've been doing the work, if you've been aware, you likely have noticed this. And so that's really good news, but that's also why things may have felt challenging for you, in the near recent past, if you will. Okay. And of course, this whole year we know is one of tremendous change and, like just across the board. So that's a whole other, layer in terms of the overarching theme. Thankfully, 2022 is bringing in a 6. 2021 is a 5, which is all about change and a freedom and really transformation and accelerated change. So that's where things can get uncomfortable and feel unsettling. 6 is going to allow us to now more integrate a lot of the change that we went through this year and focus, I believe, based on the numbers, more on really being like self-loving and nurturing and compassionate, doing our self-care, and also just opening up to being pregnant with possibility. So there's a creative and emotionally fulfilling energy there, potential for us. Okay, and as always, when I'm sharing these things, when you're looking at cards or astrology, I mean, as much as I've studied all these things and played with tarot cards most of my life off and on, and I do want to say, I always want to remind that if things don't resonate, take what resonates, leave the rest, and you never want to give your power to something outside of you. This is all just information to help us grow and expand. And ultimately, at the end, we have our free will, we have our free choice, we are making the decisions and choices and taking the actions that are creating our reality. And so I don't ever want you to feel like anything I'm sharing is anyway, so I hope you catch my drift there. So again, this is all meant to empower you with an expanded awareness in something greater than us. Okay, and yet how connected we are when we realize we are actually part of the stars, right? We're from stardust, right? So anyway, so the 5 gifts. So the first one we talked about was, having a greater clarity of vision and maybe pointing our arrow in a new direction when we do this work and we get clear on really where our soul is calling us to go and be and do and experience at this time. Okay, and so the second gift, and these are all connected, is going to be we get to point our arrow in a new direction and get into alignment with our soul's truth, with our soul's calling, with our soul's values, when we again take the time to get clear and do that work. The third gift is really a heart healing. I did a little short or published a little short yesterday on bleeding heart. The bleeding heart flower, is actually associated with the Chiron, the wounded healer archetype. And I have that book too I wanted to share with you and read a brief book. This is The Power of Flowers by Isha Lerner. And there's a cool poem here I was going to share with you on the bleeding heart. And that is bleeding heart, or it's a blessing. Bleeding heart, expand my soul that I may truly see how the journey into my suffering is the path to set me free. And by the way, if you're into taking like flower essences, and she has a whole collection, she has the cards and she has flower essences. I've taken a few of them, including the bleeding heart and the morning glory and more. And the bleeding heart specifically can really help with healing your heart, right? And so if you like flower essences, if you're drawn to them, just a little side hot tip there for you. You may want to explore that flower essence. And the book was called The Power of Flowers, okay? Okay, so let's see, what else do we have? So we have healing, and then so the heart healing, releasing the past or integrating the past so that we are now more fully integrated and embodied, right? When I use the word embody here, something that wants to come through is often when we have trauma that is unresolved, okay? And I just saw a fascinating workshop, and I can't remember the name now, that looked really cool around, I know, because I'm always studying and learning, right? But, the using breath work to release, past trauma, which I have done, but I'm always learning more, right? But anyway, the embodiment piece that I want to talk about is, and I've mentioned this in a lot of my past calls, I believe, is that when we have this unresolved pain, unresolved trauma, right, the energy crystallizes in our body, right? It creates, like, if you can imagine, right, if you go through a trauma, even if it's, say it's a car accident or falling off a horse, or emotional trauma or sexual trauma or whatever that trauma is, your body, right, is going to tense up. Your body is going to experience that trauma, right? And even after the trauma, your body remembers it, right? Because it wants to protect you in the future. And so it stores those energies. And when we don't learn how to move those energies, whether it's through breath work or I have an abacus process that I, use and teach that combines both breath work and acupoints and more. Anyway, you don't have a process to learn how to move these energies consciously, intentionally, right? What happens is it gets stuck, it crystallizes, and it creates energy blockages. And I did a video a while back on like restoring the flow, right? And it creates physical pain, disease, illness in the body if it's there long enough. Okay. And then, of course, there are going to be emotional and mental, influences as well. So the embodiment piece that I talk about, really what I want to add is something that was a huge aha for me when I started on the journey of healing, my past trauma and doing the body centered work. Something that I realized was that because of my past trauma, I did not feel safe hanging out in my body. So what do I mean by that? There's this level of energy management and awareness when you start to do this work. And this is a lot of the work that I do when we learn what we're doing with our energy, right? And that's too deep for me to get into here. But what I want to say is that can make us not feel safe hanging out in our bodies, right? Like we may dissociate, we may hang out up here, we may be scattered, there's all these signs and symptoms that can happen. And when that happens and we're disconnected from being present and fully residing in our sacred body temple, then again, we can have so many issues from, giving our power away to health problems to and beyond. Okay. That's too big of a topic to get into here, but I just wanted to, mention that from the embodiment piece, because I just thought I heard somebody kind of questioning how that, was connected. So the fourth gift that you can get from working with, again, the Sacred Centaur and the Chiron codes, the way that I teach it and use it and facilitate it, is going to be, again, this alignment with your soul's calling, your soul's work, your soul's purpose, your soul's truth, your soul's beauty, your soul's wisdom, your soul's worth, and your soul's wealth. Okay. So really for me, it's like a sacred soul resurrection. And when we can, get rid of all the other gunk and junk in our trunk and the layers of lies from, again, whether it's society or past programming or past traumas, there's so many layers, right? And it doesn't have to take a long time to clear that. Not these days, okay, in the way that I work. However, there are all those pieces and parts that we need to be aware of, and we can clear them very quickly, okay? So that is the fourth gift or benefit from doing this work. And then the final one is going to be really like this level of emotional, spiritual, physical freedom, right? This freedom and expansion and aliveness that you are now doing your soul's calling, which is what makes you come alive, right? Which is what lights you up, which is connected to your passion and your purpose. What is that saying? If you do what you love, you won't work a day in your life. Or again, I'm always messing up sayings. But anyway, there's this, forward momentum, and you're letting your life be your arrow. Okay. And that's why I love the analogy and the visualization of working with this Sacred Centaur. We're going to now, when we do all this work, we are essentially allowing and consciously creating a lifestyle, a way of being that is going to let our life be the arrow, because now we have this clear vision that is connected with our soul's calling, and we can line everything up and just start to quantum leap in that direction. And again, if you like to play in the quantum, a lot of my energy healing practices are very cutting edge and in the quantum field. Okay. And so just as a side note, so very, very powerful. And the clients I've worked with, I mean, I have like so many testimonials, I can't even begin to share that were really like miracles, where I was working with them, across the internet, right? Skype or Zoom or whatever, and, physical miracles in healing the body and more, spinal alignments and, rare genetic illness and tachycardia and constipation and so much more. And, it's really amazing how it's all connected. And when we are open to playing in the field, that is just, the possibilities are endless. So we're really tapping into unbridled potential. And so those are the 5 gifts or benefits of doing this work. I know that was a lot, but obviously you can tune into the replay. And so, really, I want to, just leave you with taking some time tomorrow, this weekend for this eclipse, and new moon, which really this eclipse is like a new moon on steroids, if you will. And, if nothing else, giving yourself the gift of, setting aside, 10, 20 minutes, half an hour, as much as you can or feels right to you, to really, at the very least, do whatever it is that helps you connect with your soul and connect with source, plug into source or the God of your understanding, so that you can really get still. And, with our new moons, right, we are really connecting with our sacred seeds. Again, that's connected to our vision. So what is your vision? What do you desire? And really not from a headspace and not from, again, those layers of either conditioning or others' expectations, but really truly from your heart and your soul, to do what you know to do, to connect with your heart, with your soul, and really not judge what comes up, like really get still and allow yourself to listen to the whispers of your soul. And then the invitation, really the other day I was going to do 3 steps to align with your soul. So that first one is to connect, to be still and connect and receive and hear and listen for the whispers of your soul. The second step is to literally accept, honor, not judge what comes through. Okay, we can dismiss things, we can second guess, we can say, oh, that's, not realistic, whatever we might do, right? That our human self. Don't do that. Accept and honor and listen. And then the third step is, what is one action step, one aligned action step that you can do to honor that whisper, that calling of your soul deep within, and then decide, commit, and follow through. Okay. And so that was a bonus. I wasn't planning to talk about that today. So I know I covered a wealth of information here today with the 5 fun facts of around Chiron and the 5 gifts that you can receive around working with, again, this Sacred Centaur, and the Chiron codes. And so on that note, if you are intrigued, if you are wanting to go deeper, I have 2 invitations for you, okay? The first invitation is to stay tuned. As I mentioned earlier, I am putting together a masterclass with slides to really do a bit more of a deep dive on this topic, because it's one that it really is not only near and dear to my heart, and you talk about the medicine of the horse, like this is the medicine of the horse in the stars, the way that I see it and experience it, right? So I'm putting together a masterclass, and I'm I'm hoping to get it done, excuse me, by next Tuesday or Wednesday, we'll see. And so that was why I was practicing the Zoom today, because I want to, use the slides. So stay tuned for that, happening next week, Tuesday, Wednesday at the latest. Okay. And, so if you want to learn more on this topic, if I've only scratched the surface. And then the second invitation is, if you already feel like you resonate and you want to go deeper and you want to learn more about your Chiron codes and how they can help you heal and align with your soul's work or calling at this time, then I'm going to invite you to sign up. Either email me, again, the information will be below, or sign up for a little Chiron chat with me, because I have a couple of spots, really just two at this point. Because if we, do the work the way that I like to do it, with pulling your chart and all that, that takes time and study. And we're, we just have this window here with the, Chiron stationing direct on the 19th. So, I have limited space, let's put it that way. And we can chat about, I have a couple of ways of working with you. It can be either in a 3-hour intensive where I will, do the work ahead of time and pull your chart. And, I also have other resources as part of a bundle, my Divine Chiron Activation and Guidebook, to support you, and or depending on your situation, if you feel like you need a little more TLC or high touch support for the healing and integration work, then we can do a 21-day container. Okay, so I want to chat with you to make sure it's the right fit, and so we can together decide what might be the next step for you, if it is a fit for you at this time. So I have that invitation. Okay, so either either stay tuned for next Tuesday, Wednesday, and again, these spots are not, are very limited. So if you really know in your heart you want to do this work, you have nothing to lose. The conversation is free. I just have a few questions for you to answer, so I can serve you better, and then we can, like I said, just have a quick chat and make sure this work would be a fit to you. I can answer any questions. We can go over the options. Okay, but that I want to just say, if you're, knowing that you want that, don't wait, because like I said, it's time sensitive and there's limited space. So we'll leave it at that. So otherwise, I think I feel complete. I would love to hear, before I go, what your biggest takeaway was. Of course, if you have any questions, and if this was helpful for you, I would be super grateful for you, giving me some love back by hitting the like button, by sharing the love, by subscribing to support my channel. It's free to do, and it really does help support me in, so many ways that I can't get into now. And as I've mentioned before, if you've seen previous videos, your energy is now part of the vortex, which means that I'm going to be, tuning into your energy to help co-create future content for you. Okay, so I think I feel complete. I trust that this was enlightening and hopefully inspiring, to say the least. And I can't wait to continue this conversation in a deeper way with my masterclass. And oh, by the way, I forgot to mention that the masterclass is actually going to be the title that I have for it so far. It may change between now and then, but the title I have right now is The Way of the Chiron-preneur, and really the Soul Biz secrets to really let your life and biz be the arrow, or to align, your arrow with your soul, however, something along those lines. Okay. But really, for those of you who either are, again, healer, light worker, heart-centered practitioner, coach, or guide, and or wanting to start, a soul-led or spiritual business. Okay. These are going to be some really powerful secrets and tips, with around how, what I'm calling the Chiron-preneur, again, how working with these codes, working with, doing this work can really help you magically align with your soul's calling and enjoy the freedom, the expansion, the aliveness, the impact, the influence, the income that you desire and deserve as a rainbow warrior, as a trailblazer, as a love leader, at this time. So I love you. Until next time, namaste. Ciao for now. Oh, oops. Stop. Okay. All right. Bye.